Israel has decided to reopen the Rafah border crossing to allow humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip following the receipt of remains of Israeli hostages from Hamas. The crossing is a critical entry point for aid between Egypt and Gaza. Israel's political leadership authorized the reopening of the Rafah crossing after Hamas recently transferred 4 additional sets of hostage remains. The decision represents a reciprocal measure following the completion of this humanitarian gesture, enabling the resumption of aid deliveries into the southern Gaza territory. Israel said it is determined, committed, and working tirelessly to bring back all of the slain hostages for burial, adding that Hamas is required to fulfill its commitments to the mediators and return them as part of the implementation of the agreement. The Rafah crossing between the Gaza Strip and Egypt is the sole route for aid to enter Gaza directly from outside Israel, and the only exit that does not lead to Israeli territory. The crossing is at the south of the Gaza Strip, a narrow slither of land that is home to 2.3 million people and wedged between Israel, Egypt, and the Mediterranean Sea. The Rafah crossing reopening will facilitate the entry of essential humanitarian supplies into Gaza, where the population faces severe shortages of food, medicine, and other necessities. The crossing has served as a vital lifeline for Gaza's residents during previous conflict periods, and its operation is considered crucial for addressing the territory's pressing humanitarian needs following extensive military operations. Israel earlier decided not to reopen the Rafah border crossing between the Gaza Strip and Egypt. The initial decision to close the crossing came as a punitive response to Hamas not upholding its side of the ceasefire and hostage deal by returning the remains of the hostages still in Gaza. Israel said it would also reduce the amount of aid flowing into Gaza as part of the sanctions against the terror group. Some bereaved families of hostages also fumed after they received a letter from the government expressing sadness at the heavy price they paid, which the letter said helped lead to the end of the war and the return of all the hostages. Israel has confirmed that the bodies of 4 hostages returned by Hamas earlier had been identified by forensic experts as Guy Illouz, Bipin Joshi, Yossi Sharabi, and IDF officer Sibti Shion Daniel Perez. The bodies were returned hours after Hamas released the last 20 living hostages abducted when the terror group invaded Israel on October 7, 2023, sparking the Gaza war. The International Committee of the Red Cross warned that it could take days or weeks to return all the slain hostages' bodies, and that there was a possibility they would never be found. Egypt is wary of insecurity near the border with Gaza in northeastern Sinai, where it faced an insurgency that peaked after 2013 and has now largely been suppressed. Since Hamas took control in Gaza in 2007, Egypt has helped enforce a blockade of the enclave and heavily restricted the flow of people and goods. Like the main crossings with Israel, restrictions have sometimes been eased but not lifted, and travelers need security clearance and lengthy checks to pass. In 2008, tens of thousands of Palestinians crossed into Sinai after Hamas blasted holes in border fortifications, prompting Egypt to build a stone and cement wall. Egypt has acted as a mediator between Israel and Palestinian factions during past conflicts and periods of unrest. But in those situations, it has also locked down the border, allowing aid to enter and medical evacuees to leave, but preventing any large-scale movement of people